Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I am Joel Senyonyi. Now, we are at it again as the election season draws nigh. You get to see what some will call gerrymandering. That means splitting districts, creating more constituencies. Others think we are drawing services closer to the people. Is that the way things really are happening? 43 constituencies were created, and we are told more are still in the offing as we head to 2016. Parliament is already bloated, and we feel we need a bigger parliament to make Uganda better. I don't know if that's what Andrew Mwenda does think. I have not had your thoughts about, whether or not bigger is better or smaller is better.
I always believe smaller is better.
You do?
Yes.
In this particular case too?
Even when I was still young and dating, I used to like girls of the size of the...
So finally we agree again. but look, of course pundits will say, yes, politically we need to do it, and you'll see people eating rats and doing everything they can, give us these things because we feel they are relevant. Where is the mismatch?
Well, I should tell you this. One, they're creating 65 new constituencies, 65. And when we go into elections, people demand districts, and President Yoweri Museveni will give them districts, which will increase. If they create another 15 districts, that will make it 15 new women members of parliament. Mm-hmm. And
there's some municipalities that are yet to be approved. I'm sure by now they are.
Exactly. Now, this is what I'm saying. There are going to be 65 new constituencies created, and if they create a new district, they may go to 80. If you look at it in terms of political representation per capita, Uganda is the highest in the world. If you look at the total population divided by the number of MPs, or the number of MPs divided by total population, Uganda has one of the... I did a story on this subject long ago. But what it tells you is two things. I was reading Will Durant's The Story of Civilization, and he writes a lot about the Roman Empire. And he found that, you see, the Roman Republic declined into an empire when Octavian, who became Augustus Caesar, the first emperor, expanded the parliament from over slightly above 360 members, the Senate, to 900. Because what happened is this enlargement of the Senate encouraged debate, discouraged consensus and agreement, and therefore freed him to rule.
Now you seem to be talking for more constituencies.
Yes, and I think that what these many constituencies do is they encourage debate, discourage consensus building in the parliament, and they free Museveni to rule. The only way Museveni can rule this country as a monarch is, I think, to enlarge parliament and encourage a lot of debate, so that being a member of parliament becomes useless.
Let me hound you a little bit more on that issue of debate. I don't know, now our parliament is about 375 members. It was much leaner one. We had awesome debates, exquisite ones, in the 6th parliament, in the 7th. This parliament here, bloated as it is, I don't know, do you see good debate? Because like you say,
it's very ineffective. In fact, what has even happened to that parliament is that the speaker now can only allow you 2 minutes to speak, to contribute to any bill. Now you imagine
how much sense do you speak in 2 minutes?
Exactly. That is the question. This is what I'm saying, that if you take democracy too far, you remember why it is attractive. Why do you think Uganda government will pass these increased MPs? You know why? Because it is creating more opportunities for more MPs. So if you're a politician, you want to run for a constituency, it is better to run in a smaller one than a bigger one, because a bigger one, the chances that you lose to the other guy is higher, and it is even more expensive geographically. So if they cut constituencies into small bits and pieces, each one of us has a chance to go and run for a parliament, and rather for a seat and go to parliament. I tell you, a pure democratic process without other countervailing forces to restrain politicians is likely to lead you to a very undemocratic outcome. And that's what is happening in Uganda. Let me give you another example. If you're an MP running for parliament in Uganda, how do you raise money? Political parties don't fund a candidate, so you go and sell your own house. You go and raise money from your own savings. You deplete your own savings.
You go to the loan.
Okay, you go and get a loan.
To the bank and get a loan.
Exactly, but when you're elected, how do you recover your money? That is the question. Either you should be appointed a minister, that's why you have a cabinet of 80 ministers. You should be appointed a minister so that you can steal from the government, or, for that matter, you should sit on a powerful oversight committee of parliament and extort bribes from civil servants who come to appear before your committee. So whatever it is, therefore, parliament cannot become a platform to exercise accountability over the executive. It becomes an institution in collusion with the executive to steal public funds.
Let's bring in the citizenry here. I keep wondering, where are we when people eat rats and demand for this? For some reason, we do not seem to see that all this is just because our leaders are rapacious. They are greedy, they want this for themselves. But we seem to be behind them. We are the wind beneath their wings. Well, why is the Ugandan, seemingly not aware of all this?
Joel, if you ask me, I'll tell you, one of the things that has happened to me, I have lost my faith in the wickedness of African leaders. And I think that has been the most transformative thing for me, because if you study each one of them, Ugandan politicians and African politicians are not very rich. They will steal money, but for you to retain a constituency in Uganda, you must share your loot with your constituents. You must pay their fees. You must meet your medical bills.
Burials,
you must attend
so
funerals. Yes. The expenses members of parliament and politicians in Uganda have to go through in order to retain their constituencies. I can tell you, although the politician is a predator on the state, he himself is a prey to the electorate. So the prey become the predators. One of the greatest books I have read in my life is In the Footsteps of Mr. Katz by Michaela Wrong on Mobutu. You see, she begins the book telling of the loot of Mobutu. By the time Mobutu dies, is buried, and she goes to chase his money, the 9 billion he had stolen, she finds there was only $20 million. She discovers something very important, that Mobutu's interest was not money, it was power. But Mobutu understood that money is an important political resource. So whatever he was stealing from the state, he was using it to buy the support of the different Congolese elites to remain in power. So ultimately, all the money Mobutu stole did not go to Mobutu's pocket.
But those are the elites.
Oil. Yes, it went to oil. But even those elites kept their elite positions by distributing it downwards within their patronage
so
and
the
client
ripple effect,
network.
and that's why for some reason we think this will happen.
And
But
you know why it happens, Joel? It's because you see our countries are very poor. Uganda's total spending is going to be $149 per person for a whole year. The US is close to $28,000, $27,800. It tells you that in terms of money, Uganda cannot deliver the public goods and services on the resources it has that we aspire for. It does not have the resources. So it becomes much more cost efficient for a Ugandan politician to distribute patronage than to deliver public goods and services, because the state of Uganda cannot afford
the money
to
is
deliver
not there.
those
GDP,
services.
$26.5 billion per capita, about what, $660, and not every family has that.
Yeah.
It's a tall order. But thanks for sharing your 2 pence. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do for today's edition of Newsnight.